Welcome to the Daily Agenda. In tonight's podcast, we're going to cover Britain first, taking orders from little Tommy Robinson, the Israeli agent. Perhaps we should rename it Israel first, or Britain last, or Britain second. Israel first, Britain second. Well, whatever. You can decide for yourself after tonight's podcast, can't you? First of all, I want to give a big shout out to our friend Bamblas Britannica, at Bamblas Britannica, here on YouTube, and I'd urge all of you to follow this young man's channel. It's thoroughly interesting material, very constructive, very useful, and all nationalists really should be following that channel. This young man has a very bright future, I guarantee you that. And so I know his name, but I won't say it because it's entirely up to him to reveal his own name, not me. But yes, keep up the good work, Bamblas Britannica. We all enjoy the show, very much so. And it's serious material, and it's doing good work for nationalism on the whole, because nationalism needs to be grounded and brought back to reality. Oh my goodness, sorry. It's those dreadful globalist hand signals again, isn't it? You know, oh well, it is your died after all. I suppose you can forgive me for that, can't you? Or maybe not. Oh well, whatever. So anyway, and I'll certainly won't be forgiven for this one tonight, and that's good by me. I don't want to be forgiven. I don't seek forgiveness. As it says in the Harvard, speak out against evil wherever you find it and fear no retribution. And I fear no retribution at all. So, Ashley Simon, the so-called co-leader of Britain second. We can't really call it Britain first anymore, as I said in the opening intro, because it really isn't Britain first, is it? It's taking orders from an Israeli agent with an Irish passport who doesn't like white people at all, in actual fact. He's probably even ashamed of his own skin. Well, it's not white people, that is for certain, when he asked about Britain and the British. And of course, when the rabbi dumped all over Britain and told us we have a special place in hell for creating the State of Israel, illegally that is, without any legal consent of any description under international law, that is, just make that point, we need to be condemned to hell for it. And little Tommy just sat there, oh, yes, Lomo, oh, absolutely, Lomo, yeah, I'll do anything you tell me to do, innit? I'm your little bitch. Oh, we know he's their little bitch, and has been for a very, very long time, from the outset, in truth. But Tommy also has his own little bitches. And one of his little bitches is Paul Golding, because Golding has relegated himself to the role of little Tommy's bitch. Because we know Golding uses exactly the same security as Tommy uses. UKIP also use it. That's absolutely right. It's bullshitters for hire, basically. I think that's what the security company's called. Plastic gangsters for hire, innit, bruv? You know what I mean, Gavna? Absolutely. Yeah, and they all work with each other and for each other. And Tommy is able to give instructions to Ashley Simon, who then passes them on to a security team to exclude certain people from their utterly irrelevant demonstrations on Tommy's orders. So who's really running Britain first? And of course, Ashley Simon writes for Urban Scoop, which is really Urban Scam, because it's just a organised fraud operation, scamming stupid people for money using poor, victims like Peter Lynch. That's right, Peter Lynch, who was a victim. He was a victim of a cruel, brutal, evil, corrupt legal system. And he was also victimised by an absolutely cynical grifting operation that ripped him off and his family, and then gave it all to Tommy's kids in it, Gavna. Absolutely right. And then denied it all, despite the fact Richard Imam. Yeah, absolutely. Richard Imam. Yeah, I get confused with all these Muppets. Richard Inman, but we call him Richard Imam because he hates it. And yes, announced it on stage. This is for Peter Lynch, and then they have the audacity to deny it afterwards. I mean, these people are just infantile liars. How does anyone with a sensible mind of any description, or even one functioning brain cell, more to the point, just one functioning brain cell should be enough to turn anyone away from Tommy Robinson's criminal operation, but apparently not. No, we just have to keep hammering away at them. And we will keep hammering away at them, basically, until the entire fraudulent monolithic structure comes crashing down. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And it won't be done by one person alone. It will be done by all of us working together. So, Britain first. Absolutely. Takes its orders from Tommy Robinson. And their co-leader is one of Tommy's little scribblers, tame scribblers at Urban Scoop. All of this comes from highly placed sources. Yes, highly placed sources. And I won't name either of them. Okay, that's the agreement that I have with them. But they are the best possible sources. I've worked with these people for quite some time. And I also know the other sources that they're connected to, and they've all supplied very reliable information which has been verified in the past, and that's why I'm able to say it. So Britain First, a nationalist organisation, well, I've been saying for years basically it's not a nationalist organisation. Just because Paul Golden says it's a nationalist organisation doesn't make it so, does it now? Surely. If I say I'm a frog with purple spots, do I look like one? I'm sure my enemies would say I do, absolutely right, but they'd say anything, wouldn't they? Absolutely anything, these dumb gaslighting little lemmings. Absolutely. And for those who say, oh, I really should show more respect. Why? Why should I show more respect for such people? I have no respect for them. I'm not going to say anything positive or good about them. Well, actually, no, I will say one thing. Now, the Britain First website is very well designed, apart from they just don't know how to advertise a remigration policy. And that's a very important point, because a couple of people came on here and commented and said, oh, we posted the link to it on your previous video. Well, I've checked the previous videos and I can't find any link to any remigration policy posted here on the Daily Agenda site. So why don't you just send it to me in an email? Go to thedailyagenda.co.uk and send me the link in an email, and I can access it that way, because you've not posted anything on here. Certainly nothing that I can see, and I've checked every single comment and reply. There's nothing there. Nothing there at all. So, why don't Britain First just make it easy and let us just have a very simple URL to just go and download this remigration policy? Anyone would think that they don't really want anybody to study it in detail, do they? And trash it for the garbage that it is. And I can say that even before I've read it, because I know perfectly well who Ashley Simon works for. And I also know from talking to Kenny Smith in summer this year that he was told that Robin Sob and Goldilocks, that's right, Robin Sob and Goldilocks are a pair of clowns. Robin Sob and Goldilocks sounds like a, oh dear, well, I won't say. We don't want to give Liam Tuff's ideas now, do we? I'm sure you know what I mean by that one. But anyway, yes, Robin Sob and Goldilocks, basically. One of the biggest clown shows in the Western world. They were told to promote remigration to counteract the Homeland Party in exactly the same week. They take orders from who exactly? Who gave them those orders? They just didn't organically think of this idea. They were given instructions, because the Homeland Party was making far too much traction on the remigration policy. And we all know what happened to the Homeland Party. It went tits up completely. That's what happens when you try and court the centre-right, whilst embracing a cabal of very badly disciplined Zoomers, led by somebody who just wants to be an e-celeb. They then in turn dish the dirt on and run away from. Oh man, it's pathetic, isn't it? This is why nationalism needs to be reconstructed and rebuilt. That's what we are doing. We are rebuilding nationalism because we have to, because of these people. Okay? And the new nationalism, that's what it's going to be called. The new nationalism is going to be completely different than anything that you have seen before, because it will not resemble the old nationalism. Okay? The old nationalists can fester away in their little swamps of failure and bitterness and hate and spouting false and misleading information about me because they hate what I'm doing. That's right. Because they're all grifters and failures. Okay? And in truth, how many years has Britain First been going now? How many years has it been going? And what exactly has it achieved with these 2 annual demonstrations a year? And now they've hooked up with Robin Sob on his UTK claptrap. And what have they achieved? How has the country been changed? Nothing in the country has been changed. Not one thing. Not a single thing. And nor will it ever do so, because they don't have their grasp on political power. And my goodness, what would this country be if they ever did? Just imagine it. An organised criminal gang addicted to grifting, snorting cocaine, hookers. Sounds like the present shower of shit, doesn't it, in Parliament, quite frankly? And why would we want to replace one shower of shit with another, or even bigger shower of shite? Not for me. I don't want to live in a country of that nature. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And the reason why I'm exposing what's happened with Britain First is because it's a completely fake organisation. It's controlled opposition. It's not nationalist. It doesn't even remotely resemble nationalism, other than the fact that it plays the imitation game like all the other con artists. And that's all it is, and I can see straight through it. It's all waffle. Waffle and crap, quite frankly. And the fact that they just cannot openly produce a remigration policy, which they've openly talked about in a YouTube live stream, shows basically one of two things. They're either very badly organised or they're being deceitful and obstructive. Why is that? See, when I wrote a remigration policy for a 95% white supermajority, I published it straight away. It's on thedailyagenda.co.uk. There's nothing obscure about it. You can find it very easily. And that's the way it should be done, because I don't have anything to hide, you see. And I don't take orders from little Tommy Robinson. I don't take orders from anyone, in actual fact. The only person who gives me orders is me. And that's the way it's always going to be. Nobody's ever going to tell me what to do. I tell me what to do. I make the decisions in my life, not Tommy Robinson. And the fact that Paul Golding, who once claimed to hate Tommy Robinson with a venom, is actually working with him, colluding with him, taking orders from him. That's right. Tommy's passing down orders to Britain First to remove this person, remove that person, come and work for me when I tell you to do it. Let's become embedded with one another, and I'll be playing the race traitor game, which he openly admits he is, and you can pretend to be like white nationalists. Okay, that's the game. That's all it is. It's all pretense. It's just a giant scam. And the people in Britain First, if they don't realise by now what's happening, then they have to be absolutely stupid, or they're just in on the grift, quite frankly. That's all there is to it. And if somebody wants to try and contradict what I've said, no problem. Let's see some evidence. I'm not interested in fairy tales and false and misleading allegations. We've seen it all before. And as for threats of violence and retribution and doxing, et al., well, I've heard it all before. You'll never have the bollocks to do anything, so shut up and don't even waste your time with it, let alone mine. Okay? Because this steamroller is rolling forward, and it has only one target, the fake centre-right, which is really the centre-left, controlled by Israel. And as I said in last night's podcast, now we have the US administration hand-picking its little puppets, shall we say. That's right, its little puppets across Europe. Will have the AFD here. You know, Kenny Smith was deeply embedded with the AFD as well, wasn't he? I used to be very friendly with them until I realised that they'd gone off course. I'm not friendly with the AFD now at all in any way, shape or form, because I believe they have gone into Sivnat or Divnat territory. It really is that simple, and I can't support them. And so, who are they going to pick here? Well, of course, it would be Nigel Farage, wouldn't it? Fake Farage. Nigel Farage, fake Farage, call him whatever you will. And then, of course, they've got their little reserve puppet, Tommy. And Tommy's got his little puppets in Britain First and UKIP. We're all desperate to slurp at the same trough. And if you go back on to my timeline, the back catalogue, you'll find a video called Tommy Talking Shit. You know? And you might think it's comedy. You might think it is comedy. But I absolutely assure you, whilst it is presented as a piss take with a fake Mockney accent, it is comedy as such. Be assured, it really isn't comedy. It really isn't comedy, because every single line in that just over 1 minute of mockery is true. That's what Tommy really thinks about his little divs, and it's also what I think about his little divs as well. And they are the divnats, and that's what we should call them from now on, the divnats. And we should use mockery because it's an extremely powerful weapon. And our enemies will use any weapon they have against us. So let's not shy away from using our own weapons against them. And our greatest weapon against them is the truth, and they hate it. They're terrified of the truth. Okay? Apparently, didn't it say you will know the truth and it will set you free somewhere? Well, in this country, the truth will never set you free. More likely to get you about 4 years in prison. Thank you for tuning in to the Daily Agenda. See you soon. Merry Yuletide.